to say what?
Left.
What side it is, and go on and say why you say that. I say always say that, because if you don't say it, you're gonna get asked.
I say that because
You say it's the left femur. So what's the left femur?
it's the left femur because what do you call it again, Dr. Connor?
Trochanterus.
Yes, because the trochanter is usually posterior. Anyway,
I mean, you see again how you, I mean, the bone is right in front of you, so why you can't sit where, if you just told me it's left femur, so what is this? What is this? You just mentioned it. What is this? Is the,
Greater trochanter.
and what is this?
The lesser trochanter.
So where's the great trochanter? Well, how get that posterior? Look at that.
That's the young one.
That's
Two.
okay. Guys, you are gonna start. This is first day anatomy. If this is the left femur, what is over there? What is over here? So I mean, this is lateral, right? This must be medial. What is in front here? That must be anterior, and this must be posterior, right? So I mean, so where is the greater trochanter? Not really. That's straight. That's so straightforward. I understand it correct. It's articulated in front of you here. So the lateral, the greater trochanter is always lateral. The lesser trochanter is posteromedial. So because look and see in the AP, see how you don't see it? You don't see the lesser trochanter. So again, you see that's why when you have a fracture, you always, when you have a fracture, look and see what happens with a fracture because of, so you see how you know right away, if in the AP you can see the lesser trochanter, what that tells you right away, that you see what I've done there must be some rotation, right? Because, so it's because you can come down in a minute, but again, when you remember how the bone, when you fracture the neck of the femur, it swings on the psoas muscle. So you see how it brings the lesser trochanter into view of the AP? If the leg is going to rotate, it brings then the lesser trochanter that you can't see in the AP normally into the view of the AP. You don't really see it, or you don't see it that well in the AP, but when you do, yeah. So you know that is lateral, so this must be medial. The head is always medial, yeah? But what did I say to you guys? Remember I said at your level, do not use one end, because I can say also too, that the greater trochanter is lateral. You see that? So you see again why you have to use at least two things, because that doesn't tell me it's, because see, in the exam now, I'm going to put the thing on the lateral and it's still lateral. So you see that doesn't make it left, right? So you have to say something else. And I said before, you have to use two things, and it's better at your level to use one at the top and one at the bottom. If you want to use two things at the top, then you can do that. But it's much easier. You see, I give you all the easy way. So let's put it back. You know, yes, it's the left femur. We know the greater trochanter is lateral. And what? And give me something else that tells you that it must be right, must be correct.
You want to talk about the condyles?
At the end of the day, said, you never get the examiner. I'll ask the examiner a question.
Sorry.
Answer as you the ball is in front of you. Answer as you see it. So use some other parameter that tells you that this is correct, the left femur. Whatever parameter you want to use, that there are many.
I want to use the condyles.
Okay. So see what you're gonna say. Remember you gotta say it.
Because I remember we talked about the lateral condyle being more. Look at Dr. One.
Somebody help me then, because I mean, I last week I was so surprised at how basic things I was talking. Everybody still seemed lost, and it starts off the same again today. Yeah. These things are so basic. I mean, I'm telling you, you can get stick up on the arm, you know. You don't have to describe it. Yes. So let's go. Let's show you again. So again, you told me the lesser trochanter is the greater trochanter is lateral, right? So look and see, people. Isn't that the popliteal surface of the knee joint at the back? So I've turned around the bone now. I've turned it around to show you the back. It's not the popliteal surface.
Yeah. So
that's the popliteal surface is posterior, right? So look and see. So that is that you can say that, because if I put, look and see now, if I made this the right femur, you see how it will be wrong? Because look and see where the popliteal fossa is now. The anterior, right? So it would be incorrect. So that's what I'm saying, try to use two things. I'm just giving you two things, but there are many things you could have used. You could have said that the head is medial and the popliteal fossa, or you could say the head is medial and the linea aspera, which is that ridge along the posterior segment of the bone. Again, so you see again, that agrees with it, right? The head is medial, or the greater trochanter is lateral, and the linea aspera is posterior. Look and see if I did that now, how it would be wrong. Because you see where the part with the linea aspera will be anterior. So you see, so again, use two things, or as I said, whatever you want to use. What articulates here? In the front of the knee. What articulates in this ridge here? What bone articulates here? Is the patella posterior or anterior?
Anterior.
So the greater trochanter is lateral, the popliteal groove is, the patella groove is anterior. Agree?
Yes.
It can't be right, because if I did that now, I'm making the patella, I'm making the patella groove now anterior. But look and see where the head is pointed laterally, right? So so it has to be wrong. So it can only be right if I said, I'm saying only correct, I should say, this has to be the left femur, because the head is correct and the popliteal fossa is correct, or the patella groove is correct, or the linea aspera is correct, or yes, so at least use two things. Yeah? And then you can't go wrong. Yeah? So I really just took this up this morning to show you again the principle of angulation and tilt that you're all getting confused with. So we now know, so you see why I started first? Because you have to know what bone you're dealing with. This is the lateral, this is the left femur then. So let's break the femur down and put different angulations and twists on it and so forth. So if I break this femur now, as I've done here now, and I've done that now, describe that fracture to me now. Fracture.
That's a transverse.
Fracture.
That's a transverse fracture.
Anthea, what subluxes?
Apparently just looking at
A joint.
Yeah.
So let's go back again. A bit back. You're losing basics again.
Okay.
What does a bone do? A bone fractures, breaks.
Yeah.
What does a joint do?
Subluxes.
Subluxes or dislocates. So when you talk about bone, you don't tell me about no subluxation. You see
Okay.
where you get 0 marks right away.
Okay, let me try it again.
So let's normal bone. I've done this to the bone. What am I looking at? What has happened to that bone?
An oblique fracture at the distal end of the
How you call the distal bone again? Remember, you see here on the back, this is again. This way. Remember how we describe the bone again? The central bit is the
shaft,
diaphysis or shaft. The metaphysis is always, there's always a proximal metaphysis and a distal metaphysis. So with that bone is in the distal metaphysis, right?
yes.
Alright, distal metaphysis, and tell me what has happened to the fracture. I've just, what sort of displacement has occurred? It has displaced
Laterally.
again. What do you talk about fracture again? I don't know how many times I doubled up that on you. How many times I keep telling you guys over and over again in our research, maybe in Scotland, where we put these people on the street. Oh, they always tell you.
Yeah.
You see who you are. They always say that. How many times I tell you all that? The proximal fragment always sticks into your face. So, but remember, you're the doctor, you're the expert. You always talk about the distal fragment. The proximal fragment is going to be one of the, when you look at dislocations, that's what happens. You put them through the exam, and they always tell you about the proximal fragment. But then you will have to remember that principle. Distal, distal, distal. Don't talk about the proximal fragment. Except there's one place where you can talk about it, and we can come to that. Right?
Can we say medially?
So look and see what has happened. So where has the fracture gone? So it shifted immediately. You have to say that. Agree? Because you have to look and see where the distal fragment is. It is medially, right?
Yes.
As opposed to if it gone over there, you would say the fraction is laterally shifted because it's in a horizontal plane, right? You're talking about that plane. Now, what I really want to tell you about this morning that was confusing, you know, let's make it, because remember you can get to linear shift, but you can get angular shifts now. So let's see, so again, you see that's what can happen. So you see how the fraction now is angulated if you want to, or it's tilted. So let's explain that to you practically now. So yeah. So what is tilt again, as I said, is easier for you to appreciate is look and see what has happened to the fraction. The bone is broken and tilted. So where it's gone?
Lateral.
So you would say tilted laterally. Because you want to correct it. How you correct that? By bringing it. You see how easy that is? But now if you use angulation now, remember angulation is the same but opposite to tilt. Yeah? Yeah? Angulation, you have to look and see where the apex of the angle is. So the angle is pointing, the angle is medially.
Yes.
But as I said, if you're going to use angulation, look and see what I have to do to correct that. I have to bring it medially still. So remember I said, if you're going to use angulation, just remember in that situation, you have to do the same maneuver that you say the fraction is at this place. You see that? Is that confusing to the young doctor who might not? Why bring it to the same direction as this place? You see that? So that's why I say to you it's easy. So let's show you again what makes tilts easy, because tilt tells you the direction the fraction has gone. This fraction has tilted laterally, so I need to correct it by tilting it
Medially.
so easy like that.
Yeah,
So it's better to use that. Like, okay, let's use the AP plane now. If that has happened now, the fraction is tilted posterior. Agree? So to correct that, I need to bring it. Yeah. Is that clear to everybody now? I thought I saw it happen. Yeah? You got it?
Yes, sir.
So again, it's the same thing. So likewise again, so a rotation again, you will see, as I said, if it's rotation, you want to, yeah? If you see that fraction, look at that. That's the AP there. You see how that you will know it's rotated? Because you're seeing the fraction now looking at the lateral, and the proximal fragment is an AP. So when you see the fragments look different orientations, you know right away there's a rotating component in the fraction. Everybody got that? Yeah?
So you say it's completely.
So remember, no fraction is going to give you the perfect orientation, but I'm saying to you, when you take an AP X-ray of the femur, you expect to see what we just said. You expect to see the AP. I need to see the patellar groove there and the distal femur. I need to see the popliteal fossa at the back. But when you take that AP down, you see that. You see how right away it will tell you, yeah? If you see that in the AP, you see how you will know something is wrong? Because I'm looking at, well, that's the AP upstairs, but downstairs, that's not an AP. Equals there's some rotation in that fraction. Yeah. But as I said to you before,
Equals a what?
Some rotation.
a rotation has occurred. But as I said, the best way how to see rotation is by examining the patient. Obviously, you may not have to do the exam, but in your clinical situation, if the patient comes with his foot, oh my gosh, any idiot would know that that patient's leg is rotated, right? It's best to see it clinically. Yeah, but in the exam center where the patient might not be in front of you, but they have the X-rays up there. When you see that difference in rotation between the fragments equals some rotatory deformity of the fraction, or dislocation, whatever it is. Yeah? Got it?
Yes.
Okay.